So I probably haven't talked about this subject in a while now, and that's that I actually am a big Overwatch fan and a big Overwatch player. And part of why I haven't talked about Overwatch, and I don't know if I've ever talked about Overwatch on this channel ever, is because right around when Role Queue came out for comp, I stopped playing the game because when you played comp, you didn't really need the role queue because you could just everyone actually wanted to win. If you didn't want to win, you would just lower your rank. And so if you're like me and you played in platinum and diamond, which I spent most of my time in platinum, and then I would end up in diamond every so often. Um, I you don't really have to worry so much about people fucking up the role queues. But I thought it was a good idea that was implemented in. But the thing is that I was just sick of playing comp, and I was just sick of what Overwatch had to offer at that point. I was just done with the game. It wasn't fun anymore. Even if I play with my friends or people that I met online and wanted to connect with and stuff like that, I just wasn't having as much fun playing the game as I used to. And I recently got back into it thanks to role queue being implemented in quick play mode because comp is just so stressful. It's so infuriating to lose. And playing quick play mode is a great way to hop back in, get my bearings back, feel like I'm understanding the game again, and also get used. I have to get used to like all the new characters, and not to mention there's been some changes to past characters, and so getting used to everyone again and having a fun time, it's all good. But what I'm mostly here to talk about is, I like to talk about Super Smash Brothers, and an interesting topic for me lately has been Tracer being in Smash. Now, this is something I actually really want. If we get 15 characters, then like please, for the love of God, make one of them be Tracer. But if we only get like 10 characters total with five more, or even less than that, Tracer would be a cool choice, but not one of my top favorites. I just think that Tracer's a character that would get a lot of people excited and hyped. But lately, Blizzard's reputation has been kind of going down the gutter. And honestly, they're going to bounce back. And I mean, they've already made the apology. To me, it's still like what they did was kind of sickening. Like, it was way too far and way too harsh. Like, I really can't believe they took away the guy's prize money for winning a tournament. I mean, he won the fucking tournament. Like, you can't. He won the tournament. That's his money. So they're gonna give him the money apparently, which is good because they shouldn't have never taken it away in the first place. And he's only banned for like half a year. It's basically his warning. I don't think it's unfair to say Blizzard's not allowed to censor things like that. I think it's perfectly acceptable, but it's just the reaction to it was in the fact they took away the money after he won. That's ridiculous to me. But I just want people to understand. Yes, I think it's okay for them to censor their players. I don't see anything wrong with that, but they have to be clear about that. That needs to be upfront. And luckily now we all know it is upfront. Um, you see, Blizzard actually did this thing one time where they were banning people using Pepe the Frog memes because Pepe the Frog was for a short period of time in 2016, maybe even 2017, associated with Donald Trump for some reason. And it had nothing to do, like, it had everything to do with the fact that people online were using the meme and happened to be alt right. And for some reason, it made like if you liked Pepe the Frog, it meant you were like it meant you hated minorities, and it's like that's not what that meme means. It's just they just happen to also be using the meme, but when everyone's using the meme, then like what? So you punish the entire meme? That makes no sense. So that's what happened. Because for a while you can kind of make it seem like you actually truly believe in these things. It's really funny. Overwatch is people make a joke and they say every single character is gay. The thing about sexuality with fictional characters is that uh, if you draw fan art of any character, then you can just make them do whatever the hell you want. I mean, no one can stop you. Like no one can stop you from drawing Captain America and the Winter Soldier sucking each other off 69 style. There's nothing that can stop anyone from doing that. You can do that. If you want Finn and Poe to be gay, you can draw them making out and jerking each other off. No one can stop you from doing that stuff. But what's actually canon is different, right? and that's what people want. To me, I've always been like, man, why does sexuality matter so much in video games? Well, in movies, in an action movie, typically there's for some reason always a female character that the main character has to get. This is probably my biggest gripe with Deadpool. If you guys watched my Joker video, I kind of said like I'm kind of getting done with Deadpool. I'm kind of over it. Though Deadpool 3 was just announced. They have this really forced relationship aspect to it that I really think is not necessary for the story of Deadpool, but it's obviously there to capture mass appeal because everyone relates to a love story or a relationship. Though to me, it comes off more like they just kind of shoehorn this woman in so that way Deadpool has someone to fuck. And it just kind of gets annoying after a while, where it's like, is that her whole purpose? Is just to be like, a reason to fight or whatever? Like, it's such bad character motivation, and again, one that Deadpool really doesn't need. But it's just this weird thing where in action movies and comedies and any typical drama, a lot of the time there's a female love interest that has to be won over where, no one gets to date until the very end. There's you never get to see like a movie where a guy that's just got a girlfriend and they just stay together throughout the whole movie and they're just kind of like lukewarm the whole time because that's how it would really be in real life. It's always like, there's some sort of drama between them or, of course I say always, I'm not talking about 100% of the time, right? And so, but in video games, as far as sexuality goes, I mean, yeah, there of course, there's examples of like heroes saving princesses. Of course, there's examples of the guy getting the girl at the end. Of course, there's examples of that. But when I think of like my favorite video games of all time, like it's not really the case. Like, yes, of course, in Zelda, Link saves the princess, but when I think about like Metal Gear Solid, like Snake doesn't really get the girl in the end of any game. Yeah, like yeah, you could say like in the first one maybe Meryl drives off with him, but they're not really together. It's not implied at all that they hooked up. It's really not at all. I promise you guys. Like, so to me, it's just like I don't know what they're talking about. Like when you think about Master Chief, who is he fucking? No one. And so to me, it's like you don't sexuality in video games doesn't really matter that much to me, but I can understand why some people want to see that representation. Some people want to see a character who is gay that they can relate to. I personally know a girl who is bisexual who really appreciates the fact that Tracer has a girlfriend, and I understand that. It is cool. It's the same reason why I like Spider-Man as a teenager because I was a teen boy and he's a teen boy, and I understand that. I understand that sometimes you just want something that's similar to you that you can relate to. So sometimes gay characters just kind of need to exist. And in fighting games or other games that have a lot of selectable characters, these are perfect opportunities to include gay characters and perfect opportunities to include characters of multiple races and of course, lots of men and lots of women. So most fighting games and most games that feature a lot of characters that are selectable are usually really good about including lots of diversity. Overwatch is, of course, no exception, and I think Overwatch has handled it more gracefully than other games. But of course, how do you portray sexuality in a game like Overwatch, which is just a online only shooter where the characters just kind of tell you the lore about themselves through in-game quotes here or there? Well, you have to kind of just put it into the comics, which basically means it's kind of canon. Like, yes, it's canon, but like these things don't really pop up too much in the gameplay, or even the story and lore in the games. But when they first showed off that Tracer was gay, or I don't think they said straight up like I'm a gay lesbian. I think they just kind of showed that she had a girlfriend. So we'll just say when they first showed that Tracer had a girlfriend, because that could mean lots of different things, right? When they first showed that, it was kind of cool. It was kind of cool because it's like she's the main character of Overwatch, though Overwatch doesn't really have like a true main character. She's kind of like the one you're supposed to see the perspective of. Like she's kind of she was there at the beginning and she's there at the now and the end, and she's possibly like one of the most important new characters. Like she's possibly like the leader of the current team basically. She's kind of taken over as Soldier's role, and that's kind of cool. And so she's on the box cover, and she really is like the face of the game. Whether she's like the main character or the mascot or whatever, she's kind of like, you know, that important character. So when it comes to um, the fact she's gay, that's just cool. And then it gets weird because then like Soldier 76 is also gay, and it's like, wait, why is he gay? Like, okay, it's the future, so it's not like it's that crazy of an idea to make him gay, but it's like even though he's older, but it's just like what purpose does that serve anything? Like you would never know. It's kind of one of those things that's like why didn't you just leave it, why did you, that question didn't need to be answered, you know? Because if you don't say what his sexuality is, you can just assume he's whatever you want him to be. Like, for example, you can just a lot of people like to joke that Soldier and Reaper are gay together and stuff like that. A lot of people also like to draw gay couples, gay pairings of characters like Farah and Mercy because Farah can fly and Mercy always follows behind her. That's all fun in games, but like when you just straight up say like, nope, the character's gay, it kind of kills a lot of the fun to it. A lot of people like to pretend that Soldier was possibly Farah's father because if Soldier is Farah's father, that adds up because Anna and Soldier are probably around the same age range because they're both older characters. They're both grandparent characters, and Farah doesn't really know much about her dad, and the game's not really doesn't really explain too much about her dad. All we kind of know is that Farah is just kind of like the new one, and she wants to live up to her mom's expectations and be a legendary hero like her mom and stuff like that. So, you know, you could include something like, you know, Soldier 76 being her father. I'm not saying you have to, but part of the fun was the mystery of who was her father. And when you just straight up say Soldier's gay, it's like, okay, like, why would you do that? Like, so, I mean, is Soldier 76 really a gay icon, or was Blizzard trying to get brownie points? Now, normally I wouldn't like to accuse a company of just trying to get brownie points, but let's circle this all back around. Circle this all back around to what I was talking about earlier with the idea that Blizzard doesn't actually care, and this is all just for profits. Now, the reason why I say that is because what's going on in China is kind of fucked up. And what's the fact that China is censoring people to that degree. Hong Kong's trying to do a revolution right now, trying to, you know, and with the idea that like the winner of a tournament who happens to be from Hong Kong, who supports his own fucking country, who wants to separate from China, you know, wants to be part of the protests and stuff. The fact they want to censor him, that's so, you know, that's just so the opposite of everything you're trying to say. When you say that you're here to be a lending voice to the LGBTQ community, and then you're censoring people on that degree, those people need that help too, you know? Those people need they need that piece of our freedom. They need a voice. If you take that voice away while saying, no, 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 but we support the gays. Are you supporting the gays because it's a hot button issue right now? Or are you supporting the gays because, like, are you supporting this hot button issue because you believe in it? Are you actually like someone who believes in helping these people? Are you doing it because you know it's gonna turn a profit? You know? And let's not kid ourselves, okay? People are gonna buy the game and think the game's really cool and forward and progressive if it's got certain representation in it. Something I like about Overwatch is that there's so many different styles of characters. It really has something for everyone, whether it be the play style or it be the character you just identify with the most. You know, I play as Reinhardt a lot, and I personally, you know, I didn't think I would identify with him, but the more I play the game, I really do identify with him. I'm not German at all, but, you know, I just like his sensibility. I like his style. He's this big, strong dude. He protects all of his friends, and he's really happy-go-lucky, and I like that. I like that style. I like his attitude. I like the style of this giant muscular dude just being like my friends and like hugging all of his friends. I like that. So, and I also like that he has a big fucking hammer and he just smashes everyone. So I like Reinhardt. He's one of my favorite characters, to the point where like I would love to have like some like Overwatch merchandise of Reinhardt or possibly Diva, who's another one of my favorite characters. Who mainly because again I like to play as her, which makes me like the character more. So, and that's a good thing too because when you have someone like me who's like a white dude and you have these minority characters in the game, and you a white dude who grew up playing whatever macho games might not care about a woman of color character, but then here I am playing as Farah and being like, wow, Farah's awesome. So I mean, of course, I don't really have that problem, but I'm just saying, sometimes that kind of level of diversity is good in many many ways. So again, I have to applaud Overwatch for their level of diversity and for what characters they chose to incorporate and include in their games. But at the same time, it just feels so fake now. And I mean, to be honest, ever since it was announced Soldier 76 was gay, it was already fake as fuck to me because it's like Jesus Christ, you don't like why do you even need to bring that up all the time, you know? But I'm just saying, like, it's just so fake and so phony. It's like clearly you're only including all these characters to get brownie points, to make people talk about it, to talk about a political issue, people, writing articles about it and all that. You know, um, personally, I always thought that, I don't know. To me, it's like, yeah, I can play the game and enjoy it, and I do like the diversity. It reminds me of Street Fighter. Street Fighter has a lot of diversity in it too. That's what I like about fighting games. There's a lot of cool characters you get to see that aren't always in other games. Like you might not get a cool black male character because, or if you do, they have to be a secondary character like Cole from Gears of War. Cole can't be. They would never make a character like Cole the main character of a game because he's just a secondary character. He's a little bit comic relief. He's the black guy. And in a game, in a fighting game like Mortal Kombat, for example, you have Jax, and well, Jax is like one of the main heroes of the game. And yes, he's not the main character, Liu Kang, but at least Mortal Kombat has an Asian main character like Liu Kang. But also, not only that, but it doesn't matter who the main character is because you can just play their arcade mode and you get to play as Jax, and you're like, yeah, that's my man, that's Jax. That's cool. I want that stuff in games. Like, I want a little bit of everyone in games. I want a flavor of everyone in games. And Overwatch does that fantastically, but I gotta say, the stuff that the Hong Kong protesters are doing with May, turning her into an icon, turning her into a symbol, putting her in Hong Kong colors and stuff like that, really, really fucking funny. Um, Halloween event is on right now. A lot of the costumes aren't really that cool, but the Halloween event's always still fun because the event is just, it's just a good time. But when it comes to when it comes to what we're seeing with all this stuff, think about the Lunar New Year. When we get to the New Year, for Overwatch, how's that going to be? That's the Asian themed event where you get to see lots of cool costumes. The first time they did it was really inspired by Journey to the West, and I freaking loved it. So what's gonna be like? I mean, there's this issue involves two Asian countries, and like yes, it's I understand again. This is why I'm okay with the censorship angle because the only way China's gonna let them put their games there is if they are cooperating with what the Chinese government says. But I mean, don't you want the players from Hong Kong to enjoy the games too? Like, don't you think this sends a negative message to the people of Hong Kong when you say they're not allowed to protest and have freedom of speech on a global stage? I mean, for crying out loud, I understand the conditions that China is in, but this is America. This is, the Western world at large, like all the European countries as well. We all have freedom of speech. And so if they want to speak to us on the global stage, we should allow them to do so. I mean, Blizzard is not a Chinese company, so why do they care so much? As that obviously I get it. It's the business side of things, but I don't know. It's just it does feel really wrong when there's a conflict going on, but China, they're crazy enough to ban the whole company. They don't really care about their people having freedoms, so they'll ban a whole entire company just for stuff like that. So, yeah, it sucks, but a lot of people won't even know about the harsh conditions they're in until they escape, and they have no reason to want to escape. As far as they're concerned, everything's fine. So, it's a kind of a fucked up, weird issue that gets kind of political, but um, you know, that's just my opinion on all this stuff. Like I said, I like Overwatch. I'm a big fan of Overwatch, and am I a huge fan of Blizzard? I don't really play Hearthstone, and I don't really play World of Warcraft, so no, I'm not really a giant Blizzard fan. And they're also combined with Activision, and I don't like Activision at all. I hate Activision. But I gotta say, Overwatch is a fantastic product. Blizzard really knocked it out of the park with Overwatch. If Overwatch was created by a different developer or a different publisher, I guess partly, um, then I would probably play it either way. I have no allegiance to Blizzard, but also something I want to keep in mind here, guys, is that Blizzard's not the only company that does this shit. They just happen to have done it the most disgraceful way. Like they've probably done it in the most disgusting manner that's happened recently. But let's not pretend that other companies aren't just equally as bad. They're all pandering to China. Like they want that Chinese money. But a lot of games don't even get to be sold in China. So you have to like figure out ways to get your games in China, and Blizzard just happen to have it in, and so they want to keep that in. So lots of movies right now are being made in order to appeal to Chinese markets as well. Like the Chinese it's just too profitable to not include. So it's kind of weird, but at least there is more representation in a lot of media now. And Asian people need representation either way. So if that's what they want to do, then whatever. But at the end of the day, I mean, I would rather them not do it for the money. I'd rather them do it for the actual social political reasons. But let's never pretend. Let's never kid. Just like back when that whole controversy was going on with the fucking shaving razors, I already literally forgot which company it was. I literally have no idea which one it was. But the company that made the commercial where it was talking about how men need to be better. Guys, let's not pretend that someone at that company just actually believed that. I mean, that was made to sell razors. It was not made to actually make a political stance or a political point. It was made to cash in on that controversy and gain support and get people to talk about their razors. But hey, literally already forgot who fucking said it, so I don't really care. But I'm just saying that's the real point. It's really not what they actually believe in. I mean, it's a company. It's not a person. A company cannot have beliefs. Corporations are not people. So no, it's not. That's not how it is. So that's all I have to say about Blizzard and all this stuff. Um, Something I do want to add in at the very last second, of course, is that Overwatch is on Switch now, and guess what? It runs at 30 frames per second. Holy fucking shit! Did Blizzard drop the ball on the Switch port for Overwatch? I mean, how bad? I mean, for God's sake, first of all, the game already sounded horrible because Overwatch is an online only shooter. Now, shooters on the Switch sounds bad already because the Joy-Cons are not really ideal to play, but at least the Pro Controller is alright. But to top it off, it's a handheld console. The only benefit of getting a game on the Switch is the fact that you can play it on the go. You can't really. What are you going to do in Overwatch on the go? Play the trading mode? There's no single player content at all. You can't even do those PvE events. You have to play the game multiplayer online. That's just how the game is. So, honestly, I mean, come on with this. I mean, who thought this was a good idea? So playing you can't always access online on the go, and if you can, it's probably like shitty Wi-Fi that everyone else is using at the same time. So why would you ever want to do that? But the fact that it also runs at 30 frames per second, you guys couldn't change the graphics enough to make it lower. You couldn't make it lower resolution enough, or whatever. You couldn't lower the settings enough for the Switch version to make it run at a solid 60 frames per second. For fuck's sake! Like, it's only 12 characters on screen at once. I know the maps are big, but then don't put it on the Switch. Then I mean, it's a game I can't recommend to anyone. I cannot recommend anyone buy the Switch version of Overwatch. I can't. I can only say, please buy it. If you're gonna buy a console, buy it on PS4 or Xbox One. But your best bet is just playing it on PC like the rest of us. But my God, it's so bad on Switch. And then they canceled the Switch launch party. I mean, and then Nintendo's even offering refunds. It seemed like Nintendo was making a big deal about Overwatch coming to Switch, but it seems like that's already passed. So do I think Trace is going to be in Smash? Hell no. I don't think Trace is going to be in Smash. It's so funny we had those articles about saying like if Nintendo wants an Overwatch character, they can have anyone. I don't think Nintendo wants an Overwatch character. I think Nintendo's kind of pissed off with Blizzard, and I've always thought Nintendo and Blizzard didn't really have much of a relationship. When is Hearthstone on Switch yet? If it's not, then what the fuck, you know? So no, I don't really think that Tracer's gonna get in. So I think there's more credibility for a Bethesda character like the Doomslayer. So and that sucks because I don't really want the Doomslayer. But guess what? Doom Guy looks more like it's possible than Tracer. So sadly, probably not getting an Overwatch character for Smash. It really sucks. In my modded version of Smash 4, I have Diva in over Zero Suit Samus, and I love her. I love that I get to play as Diva in Smash, but you know, we're probably not getting an actual Overwatch character. It's just not going to happen. It's just not likely. So, in conclusion, I'll wrap this video up by saying Blizzard sucks, and Overwatch is a great game by a studio that, you know, pretends to be woke to earn brownie points and to make profits and make money. Now, if you want to support the game because the gameplay is good, by all means, the gameplay is good. I think a lot of other shooters could learn a lot from Overwatch. And I think a lot tried to rip off Overwatch and did not prevail. But does that mean we should support a game just because of its political messages? No, because anytime money is involved, those political messages could just be tossed to the wayside. When money is involved, it's just for money. It is not for their actual beliefs. Even if it ends up doing the greater good for society, at the end of the day, it has nothing to do with the greater good of society. It has everything to do with making a profit. So sometimes that's okay, because sometimes that's what people want, and I believe, hey, we should give people what they want. And also maybe it could do good things for people down the road, like seeing more diverse characters could open up some people's eyes who would normally have been stubborn, which would have led to them being ignorant in the future. But at the end of the day, it's really hard for me to recommend. It's really hard for me to applaud Blizzard for their representation and diversity. I mean, for fuck's sake, again, this has nothing to do with actual motivations or the actual beliefs. It has everything to do with money. So it's cool. I still like the game. I'm probably gonna play it tonight. I still like Overwatch, but let's just not kid ourselves about Blizzard, and let's also not kid ourselves about mostly every other company that exists that tries to push political messages. Okay, that's what they exist for. They exist to make a profit. So I'm gonna end this one here. I have nothing else to say. I'm probably gonna just stop talking about Tracer being in Smash at this point because it's just so unbelievably unlikely. So hopefully we get 2B. Hopefully we get that. Because man, we really had a chance of getting a female character in. But Should I also mention that Jonesy from Fortnite is possibly getting leaked? Yeah, guys. I don't think that Jonesy from Fortnite is gonna get in. I don't think Fortnite characters are getting in Smash. I don't think. I don't think that Fortnite is gonna get representation in Smash. I think that Sakurai likes to see if games can stand the test of time before they're included in Smash Bros. So no. I don't know what we'll see next time in the next season, but I think every leak, including Fortnite, is just trolling, and I just don't think it's happening. So sorry to that, but like, and again, I don't want to make a full video on that, so I'm just not going to talk about that. So yeah, let's just end this one here, and I will see you guys on the next one.